Hey everybody, welcome to Money's No Object. I'm your host, Dylan Howell. This is episode number 103 of our YouTube channel and podcast, and I cannot be more excited to continue sharing with you guys personal finance topics that I think could be particularly useful to you in your long-term financial journey. Today, what we're going to talk about is gifting money or gifting stocks or other financial instruments, financial securities to individuals this Christmas, how you can do it, how it can be beneficial to them, and maybe even how it can be beneficial to you. So stay tuned to see how you can do this and how you can help set somebody else up financially this Christmas. Before we get started though, if you could go down below, hit the big red subscribe button, like this video, leave any feedback in the comments down below as we go throughout this episode, and I'll be sure to answer any questions that you have or respond to any comments that you leave me. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify podcasts, then just be sure to subscribe there and leave me a review on either one of those platforms. That'd be much appreciated. Follow me on social media at MNO with Dylan, and that's good supplementary materials to these daily episodes that I'm putting out on YouTube and Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcasts. And so if you like those, you'll likely enjoy my social media accounts as well. And if you need help creating a financial plan that is specifically tailored to you and your situation and your family and the things that you have going on in your life, then I can help you do that. Just go to my website, www.mnowithdylan.com, click on the Work with Dylan tab, and pick the financial coaching session type that would work best for you. And we can begin working towards your long-term financial goals together and get you pushing towards financial freedom. Now, there are a lot of people that likely you have trouble shopping for Christmas. There are a lot of people that you probably are like, how in the world should I shop for them? Or they have everything. I don't know what to get them. A lot of times, maybe it's your parents or grandparents. You're like, oh, they have how do I get them something? Or, maybe you're not around somebody very much, so you don't know what they need or you don't know what they specifically want. And so today I really want to speak to an alternative to buying somebody a Christmas gift. That is the gift of money or the gift of a financial product like shares of stock. And so there's many, many ways that you can go about doing this. And I'll start with the most common and kind of work to some of the least common things that people do, but things that are very, very useful. That could be something that's a little different and that would still allow you to add value to whoever you want to give a gift to this Christmas. So quite obviously, the most common way that we go about gifting money to someone is by getting them a gift card, right? And there are several different choices as to what you can do with a particular gift card. And what you get them is really, really up to you. But I just want to kind of guide you in this place. You can buy someone a gift card that is specific to a particular business, a particular store, things like that. But you can also buy people these MasterCard or Visa gift cards where they can go spend them just about anywhere. And neither one are bad choices for you to gift somebody money this Christmas. But you may be thinking about, okay, I'm trying to help this person out financially. I'm trying to decrease their financial burden. I'm trying to help them push forward financially, and maybe giving somebody a Visa gift card or a MasterCard gift card could be a waste for them. So maybe you try to be as specific as possible, because I think a lot more thought comes from being as specific as possible. Try to find something that they like, some place that they like to eat, some store that they like to shop at. If they like to go online and buy stuff on Amazon, then by all means. If they have a Netflix account, you can buy Netflix gift cards. If they like Starbucks gift cards. If they like music, buy them an Apple Music gift card. So all these different things can play together and be things that you could gift someone this Christmas that could continue to be thoughtful, even though it is just simply a gift card. Because a lot of times with gift cards, you're like, oh, well, they didn't really know what I wanted, but that's fine. I can go pick out the thing for myself. People are okay with gift cards generally, but as a gift giver, try to make the thought count with what type of gift cards you get somebody, and don't just give them some generic thing, even though, if it comes down to it, that's fine too. Giving is giving, but try to put as much thought into it as you can. Now, what I really, really want to talk about is not just necessarily this idea of giving someone gift cards or things like that. I really want to talk about, okay, well, what if I feel the need to give somebody money this Christmas? What if I need to help them out specifically in some way, right, with their personal finances? And this is something that you can do, and it's something that could benefit them and you as well. But you need to be cognizant of where you are at financially. You need to be cognizant of how you go about doing this. This year's been tough on a lot of people. This year has left a lot of people in places that they never want to go back to. It has left people with relatives who have passed away. It has left people with lost jobs, less income, left them in debt, things like that. And if you know somebody who's in that place, there's absolutely nothing wrong with reaching out with a monetary gift. But a couple things need to be in place before you ever do that. If you're going to give a monetary gift, you need to make sure that you have a relationship with that person to where that monetary gift will be received with joy and gladness. There are a lot of places where you might want to give a monetary gift, but that individual is like, I don't need your help. What makes you think I need your help? Or, they're not, grateful that you're trying to reach out, or they think you're reaching out with the wrong motives, and maybe you are reaching out with the wrong motives. So we want to make sure that our motives are in check when we are trying to go and give somebody a monetary gift. And don't do it with a holier than thou mindset. Do it with a cheerful, joyful, helpful heart. And it will really go a long way towards helping that individual. Now, some things to keep in mind when it comes to giving a monetary gift. Depending on how large a gift or how small a gift you want to give, you can do it in several different ways. Something that I would definitely suggest is if it's not somebody you're really close to, don't give somebody a personal check because personal checks obviously have your bank account number on the bottom, and finding a routing number for a bank is extremely easy. So we don't want any type of issues there if it's not somebody that you trust extremely well. But if it is somebody, then a personal check would be fine. But with anybody else, Cash App, Venmo, any of those, money giving and receiving sites, then you can use those for that particular reason as well. But you need to be cognizant of the amount that you give someone. Because as of 2020, you can give up to $15,000 per person per year as a gift. Now, let me just get this straight real quick. If you are giving somebody a $15,000 or above gift this Christmas, that means you should be doing extremely well. That means you are doing extremely well if you have the ability to give that amount of money. Now, even if you don't have the ability to give that money, giving to several different individuals in smaller amounts can still be beneficial to you. And why do I tell you this? Why do I tell you about this $15,000? Well, because you could obviously give more than that. You give away as much money as you want, but there is a gift tax, which is quite substantial, above $15,000 per person per year. So you want to keep that in mind. But even further than that, any amount that you do give up to that $15,000 per person per year is going to help you on your 2020 taxes when you do file them in 2021. So you'll be able to deduct your giving from your taxes. So anybody who you give money to directly as a gift in that way, then that will be able to be taken off your taxes. Now, obviously, if you give cash, that's going to be a lot harder to trace and track, just in case there's an audit or anything like that. You need to make sure that there's some type of electronic receipt, some type of proof that this was from you to them, and try not to exceed those boundaries. Now, again, if this is a person that you trust, if this is a person who has no issue receiving money from you, then by all means, help people out who need help. But make sure that you're doing it out of a place of a cheerful giver, a joyful giver, and being someone who wants to help others to push forward in their own financial life. Now, as we move forward, we're getting more and more nuanced, okay? There is something that I talked about last week that I think could be an extremely good way to gift this Christmas. If you are struggling on a way to gift, this would be a perfect way to do so. Children, especially those who are younger, A lot of children don't have a college fund set up for them. A lot of children don't have a 529 plan, an ESA, or some type of taxable brokerage account that's already set up for them. And if you know of a kid that you want to give a gift to this Christmas, and you want to do something for them, but you don't really know what they like, or you think that you can make the biggest impact in their life by giving this monetary gift, then I would suggest maybe opening a 529 account for this child. And this could be a really big thing that you do, especially if you are, an aunt, uncle, grandparent, any type of relative that wants to get something for this kid, but they just don't know what to do. Something that you may want to do is this 529 or ESA plan for the child. And with the 529, at least, you can do up to the gift tax limit, so the $15,000 per child per year that you can invest for them. So you are the custodian of the money, but the beneficiary of the money is the child, and it is to be used for qualified educational expenses. The beauty of this as a gift is that child can use it for their qualified educational expenses. And then maybe let's say there's money left over after they use it, then you can change it to another beneficiary, or maybe they don't go to college, then you can change it to another beneficiary, or maybe they make bad life choices. Maybe they start doing things that you don't approve of, that your money is sitting there and you don't want that to be squandered by this individual, and this happens from time to time, then you can always change it to another beneficiary. And so this is an extremely huge, awesome gift that you can give to a child. And whether you're starting it with $100 or $10,000 does not matter. Starting a child off in this way, starting a child off with some account that is going to grow for them, that they're going to be able to use for their college education, is extremely, extremely huge. And so you could do that for a child this Christmas. Obviously, you're going to need things like their social security number, their date of birth, things like that. And so this is likely going to be someone who you are pretty darn close to, and that you have a vested interest in their life and their future education and their abilities as they move forward. So I want you to keep that in mind, because that could be a huge gift. Just think about, if you're an adult, think about if somebody would have done that for you when you were a child, or if somebody would have set aside a few $1,000s into a good investment account for you as a child and let it grow, or things like that. That's a huge way that you can impact the life of a child. And will the child appreciate it at a young age? Probably not. But will they appreciate it when they're 22 and out of school, debt-free? I guarantee you that they will. And even further than the 529 or the ESA, another way that you can give a gift to a child, and this is in a more restricted way for the giver of the gift, a way that you can give a gift to a child is to create an UTMA or UGMA account. And you can find these with just about any account custodian, your major ones, your Vanguard, your Fidelities, your Charles Schwabs, your things like that. They will have the ability to create an UTMA or UGMA account for a child. And it's basically just for minors, to where you, as the individual who sets the account up, can be the custodian of this money for the minor until the minor turns 18 years old. And then they then have access to the money. See, with the 529 or the ESA, that is not necessarily the case. With the 529 or ESA, it is only for qualified educational expenses, and it is not ever the child's money. It is always your money, but the beneficiary of that money is the child. The child is able to use it for their qualified educational expenses. But with the UTMA or UGMA, then what you have is they can use it for more than just qualified educational expenses. And then when they're 18 years old, it is their money. It's no longer your money. And so this is a way that you could give a more true gift, if you will, because with the 529, you could always change the beneficiary if you wanted to. But with the UTMA or UGMA, that is solidified. That is that it is going to be their money when they are 18 years old, because you have earmarked it as such. So honestly, as soon as you put it in the account, it is their money. You are just the custodian of that money. You're just the person who can do the things for them that needs to be done between now and 18 years old with that particular amount of money. So you can definitely do that as well. And that would be a way that when the child's 18 years old, they can come into a windfall of money and use it for whatever they please, whether it's, their college education, whether it's some other type of specific education, trade school, whatever it may be. They can use it to pay off debt that they may have. They can use it to maybe buy a house or buy a car or buy different things for themselves that they may need as their life progresses. And so that is a really good option for many, many people. Now, as a parent, I've talked before about my bit of disdain towards the UTMA and UGMA, that the child receives the money at 18 and it's their money without much restriction. And so as a giver, you want to keep that in mind as well. But if you just want the child to have the money, then that is a perfectly good option and a perfectly good way to invest into a child's future. I'm just telling you guys, there is not much better you can do as a gift giver than investing in the future of our children, investing in the future of children who, they are looking at us. They're looking at this, millennial generation, the Gen Z generation, and saying all these people have student loans. All of these people are deeply in debt. That's just the way the world is. Well, it doesn't have to be the way the world is. The world does not have to be that way. And if we make the conscious decision to make sure that our children are not going into that place, to that decision where our children are not having to deal with those same types of issues, because before they got to that point, we were helping them set up accounts that would help them pay for the things that they need to pay for. I think it can just go a long, long way towards benefiting the next generation. And maybe it is a great option for you and your family, or you and your spouse, to gift to somebody this Christmas. Now, before I move on, I do want to be clear. In these accounts, in the 529s and the UTMA, UGMA, make sure that you're investing their money well. You can buy ETFs, mutual funds within these things that will track well moving forward, that will grow well moving forward. And that way, the money that you put in is not just the money that they receive later on. You notice that I have not talked at all about buying savings bonds or CDs for your children. I've told you before how I do not like savings bonds or CDs as investments. And that was a big thing. That was a big thing that people did for their grandchildren or their children to try to help them. But those do not grow. They do not grow well enough to get us to where we need to be for our education and for our life moving forward, and to put us in a really good spot with not as much money. So I want you to make sure that you have good investment options and good ways to invest this money, and maybe get with somebody who can help you walk through that. Get with some investment advisor that can show you the particular options. But you can do this all yourself on any of those major brokerage sites that I talked about earlier, the Vanguards, Fidelities, Charles Schwab's, and a myriad of others as well. Now, maybe you want to do something a little more specific, a little more risky, a little more fun, and a little more frivolous that is financially related, and it is giving shares of stock to someone. And I say it's frivolous. It doesn't have to be frivolous, but let's say that that Tesla's had a crazy year, right? Apple's had a crazy year. A lot of companies have had really, really wild rides upward, and maybe you just buy something for somebody on a whim, speculatively, and you want to give it to them. Well, guess what? You can actually do that. You can buy financial securities for other people and gift them to that person. And it is in a similar way to how you would gift money to a person, but you can gift specific securities as well. And it doesn't have to be a frivolous, speculative thing either. It can be specific ETFs, mutual funds, things like that. But we're going to talk a bit about, specific shares of stock and how that can be useful, and how specific ETFs can be used, and that be useful to individuals as well. And obviously, you don't have to do this for just a child, like we were talking about gifting children money a moment ago. This isn't just for children. You can do this for adults as well, and that's kind of where all of this comes in. You can help try to set somebody else up well for their future. Or if you are leaving somebody an early inheritance, or if you are just trying to bless your children or grandchildren or whatever it may be, this may be a way in which you do that this holiday season. And so one particular way that you can do this is through certain services and businesses that do this type of thing for people. One is called Give a Share, right? Give a Share is a company, and they specialize in share gifting and receipts that will give you actually an authentic stock certificate that you can have framed and that you can give somebody as the memento for the gift. Instead of just saying, hey, I bought you the share of stock here, whatever, you can actually have something specific that they can unwrap and see. And that would be kind of cool as a Christmas gift for an individual. And then there's also a company called Stockpile, and they offer single stocks and gift cards, which allow the recipients to choose their own stock. And so you could buy a gift card for an individual to go onto a site like Stockpile and buy their own stocks. And then obviously there are several sites, several sites to where you don't really have to do anything at all. You just have to refer the individual, and the individual will receive shares of stock. And a lot of times you will also receive shares of stock for just referring the individual to the site. But if you really want to be really meticulous about how you go about doing this, and you want to do it in a bit more of a legit way, then just kind of follow these next few guidelines that I have for you. So there's really only three options that you have, and I've talked about the first two. The first two are you purchase a stock specifically for a child, which can be done within a custodial account. And I said you can also buy mutual funds, ETFs, things like that. And that would be like the UTMA or UGMA or even the college savings account, something like that that you can do for a child. And then you can also give a stock with an app. That's what I just got done talking about. But then you can give stock from an existing investment account. So you would obviously need to contact your broker. You would need to contact the brokerage house that you use. Again, the Vanguards, Fidelities, Charles Schwab, whoever you use, you would need to talk to them about doing this, but it absolutely can be done. And when you're doing this, obviously you need to keep in mind the gift tax thresholds of $15,000 per person per year, just like with giving money, that is the exact same way, or just like putting money into a 529 for a child is the exact same way. So what you really want to make sure that you do is make sure that the person that you are trying to gift the stock to has an investment account that is already open for themselves. You have your investment account open, and both of your brokers will allow you to do this. Now, there may be some specific things regarding the tax treatment of accounts that may hold you back, but I believe if they are just both taxable investment accounts, you shouldn't run into much of an issue. But if you have a Roth IRA, but they just have this taxable brokerage account, or you have a taxable brokerage account and they open a traditional IRA, or any type of non-parallel tax treatment between the two types of accounts, then you could run into some issues. But otherwise, you should be able to gift it in the same way that you would gift some money or a sum of money to an individual. Now, there should be no taxes to you if you keep it under the gift tax threshold, and the only taxes to them will be on any realized gains that they get from owning the stock moving forward. And other than that, you should be pretty good. All of this that I'm talking about here, though, gifting stock, gifting people 529s, UTMAs, or things like this, or giving them stock over an app, and doing the little fun things like having the stock certificate that's certified and it's really cool to open and things like that. All of this is so we can do one thing. So we can help people push towards financial freedom. And in doing so, we're also pushing people towards greater financial literacy. And so I really like this idea of being able to give financial securities to other people and be able to help people along in their financial life if they are receptive to take that gift. I really, really like that as a thing that you can do in a way that it can be kind of fun. If you gift somebody a stock and, maybe they come back to you next Christmas and go, oh, that stock increased by, 67% this year. It had a great year, fantastic year. Thanks, man. I really appreciate it. All this type of stuff, right? You could really have fun with this. And that's what I really want you to do. And that's what you should be doing when you are giving anyway. Have fun. Whether it is giving somebody a gift card, giving somebody money, giving somebody a financial security like a share of stock, have fun with it. You want to have fun with it, and you want to make sure that the person understands why you're doing it, why you're trying to help them out, why you're trying to do these particular things for them, especially if it's money directly or a financial security. They should understand that. And if it's a financial security, it also works as a great building block into other conversations with that person. Hey, do you do a budget every month? Hey, do you have any debt? Do you have things like, if that person is not somebody who you already actively talk to about these things. Or if it's a child, then you can help the child to learn, hey, this is why a share of stock goes up in value. This is why an ETF goes up in value. A mutual fund increases in value. This is what this account is for. This account is for your college education. This account is for when you're 18 years old, you can receive this money and be able to use it for things that you need. And it's just such a great learning opportunity to give. To give to others a lot of times gives you a specific point of influence and a reason to speak into that person's life. And if you can speak into people's financial lives and do it in a way that is fun, that is helpful, that is interesting, and that will help them push forward, and they see that, and they see that you really care and enjoy what you're doing for them, then I think we can all make a lot of headway as a country, as a world race, to go and be more financially free and to live in a way that is without debt, that is with assets that we own that are increasing in value, like shares of stock, where we have emergency funds, where we own our houses, where we can do all of these things. And the end of a year, pushing into a new year, is a great time to begin those conversations. It's a great time to do something by gifting money or financial securities to someone to where they can start asking those questions, or to where you can bring up the conversation and things can really get kicked off from there, and hopefully pique somebody's interest in their own personal finances and pique their interest in becoming financially literate over the long term. Hey, thank you guys for watching this video. If you could, go down below, hit the big red subscribe button, like this video, leave me any feedback in the comments down below if you haven't done so already, and I'll be sure to get back to you, or any questions that you may have, you can leave them down there and I'll be sure to answer them. If you are listening on Apple or Spotify podcasts, then be sure to subscribe and leave me a review on those sites. If you like the content that I'm putting out daily in these episodes, then you would likely enjoy my social media content as well. Follow me on social media at MNO with Dylan, and I'm on all the major social media platforms. And then if you need somebody to walk through a financial plan with you, a financial plan that is specific to you and your life, then I can help you do that. Just go to my website, www.MNOwithDylan.com. Click on the Work with Dylan tab, and you can pick the financial coaching session type that would work best for you, and we can begin pushing forward into long-term financial freedom. So tune in tomorrow as I continue on in this Christmas week, and we can push towards Friday with much joy and anticipation. So thanks for tuning into this episode of Money's No Object. I'm your host, Dylan Howell. God bless.